Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video that I am doing with you. I am super excited to be here to be recording yet this video with you guys to just share with you my journey that is Australia. So as you may or may not know, I live in the UK, but currently I'm just checking out Australia to see if it will be a potential new home for me. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and then I moved to the UK when I was about 14 or 15. So I've pretty much lived half my life in Zimbabwe, half my life in the UK, probably more of my life in the UK now. And my mom moved from Zimbabwe to the UK, and she made that decision for us, and it was probably one of the best decisions. It wasn't easy, it was hard, but as an adult now, I'm also now looking to see it, where could I settle down, like in terms of family, in terms of lifestyle. Obviously going to the UK wasn't a choice, it was something that my mom made the decision for us to go. So as an adult, I'm having to make these decisions now, and so that's why I decided to come to Australia. I just want to say thank you all for sharing the previous video, and I just want to also say welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome. Here is just a space where we discuss things. Currently we're pretty much mainly talking about Australia, but hopefully in time there will be more vlogs or things so that you guys can see what's around it and things like that. So for me, this channel, the Australian videos are basically going to be comparing to the UK, because the UK is my current home right now. So I'm comparing to see, is Australia better than the UK? And it is true when they say not all that glitters is gold. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh my god, this is heaven. Like, the UK has its benefits. There are things that are good about the UK that I absolutely love. I've been in Australia now for about a week. I'm currently in a regional town. It's kind of a big regional town or city, and it's about 5 hours drive from Sydney, and it is an hour by plane. Just for security purposes, I'm not going to mention where I am, but yeah, just know that's exactly, I'm like 5 hours from Sydney drive, or in about 50 minutes by flying. So I don't want to talk about the good things first. I wanted to talk about the bad things, the things that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I absolutely hate this. Like, I don't like this at all, because I came in with a positive mindset, and I still have a positive mindset, but I just wanted to share the things that I'm like, in comparison to the UK, the things that I'm like, okay, maybe this bit I don't particularly like, and they're not very big deals, but they're probably more according to the lifestyle that I have. So I will start to talk about the number 6 thing, the top 6 things that I have noticed that I don't like, or I have a least tolerance to. So the first thing is that groceries are expensive, guys. When I first came here, I wanted to compare. When I went to do the shop, I would automatically click to say how much is this in pounds, because that way it would make sense. So groceries are expensive. I went to buy, like, everything is just like 20 Australian dollars for like simple things. Like 3 things can easily cost you that much. I've shopped in Woolworths, I've gone to Coles, I haven't gone to Aldi yet, so I'm still to check that out to see in terms of price comparison, to see how expensive it is. But it is pretty much expensive. Now, that could also be in terms of the quality of their food. It could be that most of it seems pretty much organic and natural and healthy. So I'm not too sure, but the groceries are expensive. And even Australians will talk to you and say their groceries are expensive. Compared to the UK, I used to spend per week, I would get away with like 25 to 30 pounds a week, just to like shop my food for the week. I don't eat that much, but I like to eat pretty healthy. So if I ate even more junk, it would be cheaper. But when you're eating healthier, healthy food costs more. Unfortunately, healthy groceries cost more. But in comparison to Australia, honestly, it's expensive. So what I would do is we would take a shopping trip we'll go to the shops and do the groceries, and then I can show you guys, and then you can also compare for yourselves. But I would say that in comparison to the UK, the groceries are more expensive, and I think they're a bit more monopolized because it's Aldi, Woolworths, Coles. They seem to be like the big players, so it could also be because of that monopoly in that industry. Number two, the first thing that before I came to Australia, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna explore, I'm gonna see my friends. One weekend I'll be in Melbourne, the next I'll be in Brisbane. Sorry. And I was just like so naive. I mean, I think sometimes we forget that it's a continent as much as it is a country. It's huge. And these guys here, I think their culture is a culture of driving. They're not like flights. So you know how in the UK you can pretty much catch a cheap flight to Spain. You can catch a cheap flight to pretty much anywhere, like local, like within like 3 hour flight time. Here it's expensive. So for me to go to Sydney, like I checked to go to Sydney this weekend, and it was gonna cost me, I think it was saying 860 Australian dollars, which works out to be about 400 something pounds, and that's like an hour flight. My flight here, if you book within time, you can pretty much get from Sydney to the UK, like if you use Chinese Airlines, for like 700. So their flights are so expensive. If you try to even look to go to Perth from like regional towns, it is very expensive. If you're going from city to city, it's not as expensive. It can probably cost you maybe like, £300, which I think then it's fair. But because like going from Sydney to Perth is like maybe 5-6 hours flight in one country, so it's massive. So obviously when you're coming here, you just have to make sure you know where you want to stay, because sometimes you can be like, oh, I can just go for a weekend here, or I can come for I can spend a day there. It is pretty far, unless obviously if you're driving. So if you're driving, like now I can get to Sydney at 5 hours, which is probably like from Midlands to Scotland kind of distance. So yeah, everything is so far apart. So just make sure you research where you want to go, where you really like, so that if you do come here and you're stuck in a place, you can just enjoy the place that you're in rather than going to other places. If you're like adventurous, then you have to make a plan on like going to different cities, but it's so far apart and the flights are so expensive, so driving is your best option. So I think that pretty much ties into my point 2 and 3, that the flights are expensive and everything is so far apart. Number 4 is that I think because it's so huge and it's wide apart, it can get lonely. Because pretty much everyone is established here and they kind of do their own thing. So you have to go out of your own way, like going to the gym, going to church, going to like run, like park runs or something to make friends. Because if you're just in the house and when it's hot outside, it's not like the UK. I feel like because the UK is small, pretty much someone knows someone and it's easier to make friends. I know it's hard to make friends in the UK, but Australia is even harder to make friends. So just make sure like your personality is suited for kind of things like that. And I think that's why a lot of people that like to move to Australia have families, because it's very family oriented. So people with family, they can literally, like, I think this is heaven, because there's activities, there's like the coast, there's parks, there's so many things to do. But are you comfortable doing those things alone, or do you like company? Because if you like company, then you may have to stick to like the big cities and like somewhere, because when you move to like regional, it's even harder. I'm living in a regional town, so I can't really give you an experience of how it is living in the big cities. And then the last point that I have was that I went to the butcher last week, and then this week actually, and I wanted some bones, and they were titled like doggy treats. And I was like, doggy treats. I mean, I could have bought them. I wasn't conscious in terms of, oh my God, I'm embarrassed to buy doggy treats. But then I just wasn't sure whether the quality was safe enough for human consumption. So you find in the UK, pretty much just by your corner, you can find any cut of meat. There's butchers all around. There's even Zim butchers. There's even, you can go to like Asian butchers. You can find like halal, like goat meat or whatever. So if you like meat, it can be a bit annoying to find like the meat that you like, and their meat is expensive as well. Like their steak is so expensive in comparison to the UK. I think it would be like 15 Australian dollars for like a fillet. In UK, you probably like get a fillet for like £2 in Audi or something. And if you go to like butchers, it'll be like you can buy per kilo, which is a lot cheaper. So these are some of the things that I've just noticed as I've come here, that I'm just like, okay, these are like, particularly the meat thing. Like, I love meat. I live on meat. So, and then when you start looking at it, you're like, okay, this is expensive. But then I guess in comparison to their pays, to the amount of money, like their salaries, it's comparable to their standard of living. So maybe the wrong thing is to kind of evaluate their lifestyle with the UK income. I haven't been paid yet because I've only just worked for a week. So I will be able to let you know how that is in terms of like in comparing to how it is from, you know, the UK money or the Australian money, whether it makes sense. So you just have to make sure, if you do intend to move here, make sure you negotiate your salary, make sure you are aware of things like this. And I'm told there are other schemes of like things that you can do, like how to shop in catalogs and things. There's like so many tricks that you can do to kind of lower the prices down, but I'm still not aware of much of these, so my experience is very much limited. But I'm hoping that it will be helpful to somebody that is looking to move to Australia. Do I regret moving here at the moment? No, I don't regret it. It's very much like a place that I would love to stay. Obviously, if I had my family here, or if I can find a way to make sure like me and my partner can move here, then it would definitely be a potential home for us. But anyway, for today, that was all. So these were the cons of moving to Australia, the things that I don't like, the things that I've disliked about Australia. But let me know, you may have other things that you also don't like, and then the next video is going to be talking about the positives of what I really like. And then following on there, we'll be talking about how I did it, which visa I used, how to register if you're a radiographer, because that's my field, how to basically do it if you're in the health industry, particularly in the radiography, and also how to look for jobs, the kind of salaries to expect. So this is the content that you can expect to see going forwards. But until then, I hope you have a lovely weekend wherever you are, and that you have a beautiful day or a beautiful night. Good.